You're listening to the Timey-Wimey Tea Time Podcast, a geekyantics.net production where lovely and amazing people talk and ponder anything and everything about Doctor Who, science fiction, fantasy, zombies, the end of the world, creativity, writing and, oh heck yes, anything else that geeks speak, question and think.
Timey-Wimey Tea Time.
Welcome back. This is the second half of TWTT. Still no sign of Allie, but we're gonna keep going on. Now, you just heard during the break, for those listening live or on YouTube. I don't always put the musical breaks on YouTube because people already complain about the length, and 5-10 minutes or 5 to 15 minutes of music may be too much for some people. But for those live, you did hear the Orosonic intermission. Let's lift you up from the Moscow team, Orosonic. Hope I'm not butchering the name. But if you do want to watch the YouTube videos, the playlist is on bit.ly/TWTT playlist. That's TWTT, all caps, playlist in lowercase. So bit.ly/TWTT playlist. Or just go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/geekyantics. But, the second half, we're going to talk a little bit more about The Walking Dead. Because I just came back, from Walking Stalker Con. I'm still kind of on that con high. I was starting to get the con virus, the con bug that people get. So you just heard me sneeze earlier. I've been trying to fight it and fight the sniffles and whatnot. But it's rough because I don't have time to really breathe and relax. I'm by myself. Talk about bad timing. Hopefully you're still enjoying the show. I like the conversations. I love when we have co-hosts, or guests. But the show must go on. But in lieu of the fact that we're, we just came back from Walkstalker Con, and the community, the TWTT community, has shown massive interest in The Walking Dead. I'd like to open up with a couple of extra comments from YouTube that I think will set the stage rather well. So Lasward writes, I don't need Doctor Who Series 8 to get better. I got The Walking Dead. Who? Tell us how you really feel. Roxana Clark, who writes a lot to us, I really appreciate you, Roxana. She says, you guys are making a difference. Now, that means a lot to us, and I highlight both of these comments because TWTT is not just about Doctor Who, and certainly not just TV alone. We like to tackle the human issues. We like to tackle the creative processes and the things that we enjoy. So Doctor Who, The Walking Dead, whatever we talk about, selfie, anime, there's just a vehicle for the message we want to share and beliefs and values that we think are important. And it seems like we have quite a bit of TWD fans out there. Not TWTT. We had TWTT fans out there too, but I'm talking about The Walking Dead. So we'll be getting deeper into that. So without further delay here, let's just talk about our big stuff, little stuff. All right? So this is something we do almost every show. We've been doing it for the past 6 episodes. Blue is looking so cute right now. I should really snag a shot of her. But I can't because I don't have someone to take over. She's doing the cutest little pose right now. But anyway, I love animals, especially cats. So don't mind me. But anyway, big stuff, little stuff. So what we do is we should have 3 big things and 3 little things that we'll discuss. The first big thing. Actually, let's just outline everything first. So big stuff. We have Clara, the Doctor. Then we have The Walking Dead and cannibalism. Finally, Walker Starker Con reactions. There's a lot of stuff there. And it's gonna take up probably a brunt of our time in this second half. Then little stuff. Who were these creatures in Flatline? Then back to Walking Dead. Beth is finally remembered. And then the last little thing, the last of the little stuff, is Bob dead meat? Pun intended, by the way. So big stuff. Let's go into it. Clara the doctor. So in Flatline, Clara asks herself, what would the doctor do? And I think she's done that a few times. No, this might be the first time she did it this season. Like, actually went out and said it. But she hasn't. This is not the first time she's been left alone. In the season premiere, the series premiere, the doctor abandoned her briefly, but then he came back to help her. She fended for herself pretty well when she stopped breathing and tried to pretend to be one of the mechanical people. She's been very resourceful, and I think she's come to her own as a character. So I like her a lot. But once again, she saves the day. Before she saved the Earth and killed the Moon, and here she, I guess you could say she saves the Earth again, because it kind of seems like these creatures are invading party on the Earth. And I have to wonder, are they purposely making Clara a better doctor than Capaldi? What's going on here? Has the doctor lost his fight? I'd like to hear what you guys have to think about this. So leave us tons of voicemail messages, because you got 2 whole weeks, more than likely, to leave us voicemail messages, and we'll do a very special episode 11. Might have to do a post show or an ecstasy episode, because we're gonna have a lot of stuff to catch up on. 2 episodes of Doctor Who and all the community feedback. Oh, it's gonna be a lot of work, but it's gonna be very exciting too. So the doctor does have a line here that's very important. When he thinks he's about to die on the train tracks, as I mentioned in the first half, he says, "I don't know if you can hear me, but you were good. And you made a mighty fine doctor." So he really believes in Clara, and he tells Clara that she's stronger than she seems. So there's a message of hope there. BFT in the chat says the doctor was getting feisty at the end of the last episode. On Flatline, was it really feisty? I don't know. If anything, when he saw that grumpy old man, I think it kept him in check, and he kind of looked down upon that grumpy old man for being so bitter. That whole thing about collateral damage, that he was trying to put that point he was trying to make, really turned off the doctor. So I think the doctor still cares, but he's in a dark place right now. There's something going on, and he needs to figure it out. Maybe there's some wrong that he has to right, and we don't know yet. We're not privy to it yet as the audience. So, oh yeah, he did get feisty on Flatline, the doctor finally comes out of the TARDIS when Clara comes up with a brilliant plan to restore power to the TARDIS. Mind you, she has no direction from the doctor, so this is her own idea. You gotta watch the episode; it's very brilliant. It's just, if you haven't seen it yet, check it out. But the power is restored to the TARDIS, and the doctor does this whole monologue, even though there's people there, but he kind of just, it's like no one else exists for that moment. He's like going through the whole spiel, this diatribe of sorts, and comes out of the TARDIS all heroic. Now, mind you, when the TARDIS flies in, like a force field gets pushed out, and all the creatures get pushed back, so they can't approach everyone, so they're safe. And he just stands off against them. He says, he says something about, I try to talk to you, I try to reason with you. I want everybody to realize that I did try to come up with like a peaceful solution here, but you gave me no choice. And now it doesn't matter if you're invading or just observing, But I think I even quoted this in here. I think I have. Yeah. We'll get into that in the little stuff. I didn't want to mention that later, but he has a really nice scene. So I'm going to get into that. He does get feisty for sure. So look, we're on the same wavelength. Stan says the doctor solved the problem and gave his speech of mightiness. Yeah, he did. But without Clara, it would not have happened. So Clara really saved the day. But the doctor got the epic moment. And then he almost cannot give Clara the satisfaction. Like, even though he had already, when he thought he was gonna die, he admitted that she was great, that she was brilliant. He was encouraging her along the way. When it finally came down to it, he was like, well, and Clara made a whole thing about, I was good, right? Why can't you admit I was good? He goes, I think he said something about you were brilliant, but goodness has nothing to do with it. And again, a recurring theme. We could probably talk on and on about what that really means, but this doctor, this 12th Doctor, feels that sometimes you're faced with tough decisions, and it's sometimes a matter of just choosing the lesser of an evil, and in that you might accomplish a greater good, but there's still a price to be paid. And maybe it could be as simple. Maybe we're reading too much into this, but maybe we're seeing here with Clara stepping up as the doctor, and this recurring theme with the doctor feeling like sometimes your hand is forced. Maybe what we're seeing now is like, he's kind of, you could say he restarted his regeneration cycle. Maybe finally everything's hitting him at once, and the burden is too great. He's feeling the burden of all these previous lives and adventures, and he's realizing, like, wow, a lot of messed up stuff happened. How do I atone for that? I mean, where do I begin to apologize or make things right? And maybe that could be the simple answer. And in many ways, Clara, we said that she's immature, but maybe she's the youthful innocence, the adventurous kid that we've known the Doctor to be many a time. She exemplifies that lost part of him that he likely needs to reconnect with. So more and more, I'm really liking this Clara 12th Doctor dynamic. But sadly, we have again, 3 or 4 episodes left in series 8. Clara may not be coming back. I really hope they don't get rid of her, because there's so much more they could do with this. I mean, they set the bar really high. They've dropped so many hints. They need to follow through with them. But we'll come back to that. Let's get to some other big items. So, The Walking Dead and cannibalism. Episode 2 made it clear that they are following the Hunter storyline from the comics. And guys, I am a big enough man to admit I was wrong about the cannibalism. I mean, I felt like they made it so obvious, even when they were denying it during interviews, that I felt like maybe they might surprise us. I guess they gave them too much credit. So they finally went down the route of cannibalism, and there's no doubt about it. In episode 2, these guys are cannibals. Terminus, folks, spoilers, they are cannibals. But that was really important. What's really important is what brought them to that. They had the whole metaphor of, cattle and the butchers. You're either the cattle or you're the butchers. So obviously they're the butchers, the hunters. The last scene in episode 2 of The Walking Dead, season 5, was pretty jarring. I have to say I feel really bad for Bob. We're gonna get back to that, but I think the big thing here too, they've done so much in this season opener. If you recall, season 4 started off very strong too with the governor, and getting a little more backstory from him and seeing him have this dichotomy, I guess you could say, of personalities within himself, and this conflict. And we thought he might actually turn over, and become a good guy. We thought that turnaround was coming, and it didn't. And then there was a big battle, and then after that, it just kind of wandered about with almost no purpose. And then they finally built up to this whole Terminus thing, and Terminus did not exist in the comics, and it was a very small part of the storytelling. And I think the only thing that Terminus served to do, the purpose of Terminus, I would say, is reuniting the group and forging stronger bonds. But as we'll see later on in the little stuff, they've become strong as a group. But has everyone forgotten about Beth? So my concern though is, season 4 started off strong. Season 5 it started off really strong. It's shaping up to be the best season yet. And a lot of people, a lot of the fans, a lot of the TWD family community out there, we feel that this might be the best season since the first season. And the start of it might be, people compare it to like episode 1 status of epicness. Can they keep this momentum going, or will this be like 2 or 3 more episodes of the Hunter storyline, and then they'll find a way to take them out and then move on, and then aimless, pointless wandering? They need more purpose. Is Washington D.C. that purpose? I don't know. Now let's go to the next big item, Walker Stalker Con reactions. So we did a live viewing session of the season 5 premiere of The Walking Dead, and then we saw episode 2 together in a huge, it's actually the main panel room, and I wouldn't even call it a room. It's a huge hall, like they could have a concert there and sit and seat thousands of people. That's how huge it was. Only about a third of the space was filled out. I mean, it was the hardcore people that still found some energy left after the huge weekend to come in, and it was so cool because here we are sitting 9 p.m. at night, just watching the live premiere, and then they did a live podcast afterwards. The Walker Stalkers, Eric and James, they did a live podcast with instant reactions. Definitely check them out. So many great theories. This is what good storytelling does. It like they had. This is all right. So I'm gonna contradict myself. I feel like they had to be more literal with the cannibalism thing because that's what we're used to. Subtlety hasn't always been a strong suit for The Walking Dead. But now the storytelling has us asking questions in a good way. And we feel like all these things that they've dangled out there, all these things this breadcrumb trail that they dropped, they're finally addressing these things and they're calling back to previous seasons. So people were talking about things like we've seen these markings on the trees before. Are the markings on the trees left by Morgan, who's kind of cuckoo in the head, or we've been made to believe that, or is it the hunters? I think it's the hunters. I agree with the folks that said this in Walker Stalker Con. A lot of fans felt this way. Someone said that it could be hobo markings, like it's a way to communicate with other people, and that's true. That is a thing. So maybe it's the hunters. Maybe it's just Gareth leaving a trail so that all the people that escaped from Terminus after everything went crazy, so they could reunite with the group. And now they're like nomadic. They're on the hunt and they're moving from place to place. So this is a way for them to find that camp wherever they're camped out at the current time. So Morgan's following this trail. I think he's following the trail. I don't think he's leaving the markings. Another question is, will Bob be saved? Now, at the end of episode 2, they have the trailer, and you hear them say, Rick's group say, "Oh, we're missing 3 people." I forget the exact way they phrased it, but the way they said it is not that 3 people died, but that's what they led you to believe. I think it's just 3 people are missing. Bob's unaccounted for, and then we have Carol and Daryl that broke away from the group on their own to find Beth, because the car drove by and they had a cross on the back, which I don't know if that's significant for anything. Maybe they're affiliated with Father Gabriel, he's fishy on himself. What's up with Father Gabriel? So much stuff going on here. But the thing that burns me up in this episode, and I'm surprised no one really mentioned this, is why are people going out by themselves? After everything they've been through, they should have learned by now. Stick together, go out in pairs at least, 3 in the group at the very least, because there's power in numbers. But Bob, he goes out. Now, if you watch episode 2, this. If you didn't, by the way, this would be more spoilers. But in episode 2, they get together with Father Gabriel to search for supplies because the supplies are really scarce. and or scarce, whichever way you want to say it. I hear both, but anyway, they go to this. Father Gabriel says that pretty much every location surrounding the church has been cleaned out except for one place. Well, the reason that one place hasn't been cleaned out is because it's overrun by zombies. Now, this is what's silly. They go into this building. It looks like it might be like an old community hall, a worship center, and there's the walls and the ceilings are broken down, and there's holes all over the place. And they look at this huge hole in the floor, and there's like, it's flooded, and there's a bunch of zombies walking around in there. Now, somehow, in their infinite wisdom, they decide to jump in there with them and take them out quietly. Okay, take them out quietly so you don't attract other zombies. Walkers. But you couldn't come up with some kind of makeshift weapon, like a long stick, a pole, and just stab them in the head. I mean, they've done that before, but they're gonna go in there. So I already know they're setting up something where one of the people in the group is gonna get hurt, and of course it has to be Bob because they let their guard down. They don't look in the water, and there's something bubbling. A zombie comes up. They don't show the zombie biting him, but I think he does get bit because this is how he ends up getting kidnapped by the hunters, which is what ultimately leads up to the crazy scene at the end of episode 2 of season 5, The Walking Dead. Bob goes out crying. First of all, he gets very mushy with Sasha, and it's she gives him a kiss, and then he says, "Oh, let me get another." And you could tell even though he's getting into the moment, there's something weighing down upon him, and he seems very clingy. I'm surprised. She's with him, and she doesn't pick up on his I don't know how tense he is and clearly preoccupied. Yeah, what kind of couple is that? But I get they haven't been together a long time, and everybody's burdened by something. So I guess people could overlook that. Fair enough. But he asks for another kiss. Then he walks away, goes outside, and he's crying. Now everybody started thinking during Walker Stalker, they're like, "Oh, he's crying because everybody's drinking, and he doesn't want to get into the drinking again." No. This is the tears of a man who finally started feeling hope and then just got smacked down by reality. I've been there before. I know many of you listening have been there before. Just think about it. The way they do this episode is brilliant. You want to talk about human drama. Here's Bob. He's like, "Hey, Rick, I know you're going to make the decision eventually. I know you're going to listen to Abraham. We got to go to Washington, D.C. That gives us purpose. It gives us a fighting chance. If we can find a cure for this thing, we can bring things back to the way they were." And here, Bob's probably thinking to himself, "Oh, man, I got an awesome girl. She's hot. She's sweet. She's really into me, even though I'm kind of a dork." Because Bob's not smooth. He's kind of goofy looking. He's a good enough guy, but, there's not much to him. And, he's been kind of a weasel too. He's always running away and not very helpful to the group, but he's coming to his own, right? But everything's finally coming together, and then a zombie sneaks up on him. He's fighting it off. Sasha saves him just in time, or at least we think. I think he got bit or scratched or something, and that's why. But this is what's funny about it though. In the Walking Dead universe, everyone's already infected. So what does it mean? He's if you get bit or scratched, it's gonna you get bacteria and further infected accelerates the death process and conversion process. Okay, fair enough. But I think I really think I'm not getting into that whole debate, but I think that's why he went outside and started crying, because those tears. I've been there before. Those are tears of a man. It's like, man, every time things are about to turn around, adversity strikes. And, this is the first time I really feel really connected to Bob. And I'm like, damn, all right, I get it, brother. And I see why you were drinking. That was your escape, because you've probably they make you believe that they make you realize that Bob has been through a lot of crap. And that's why he is the way he is. I'm not saying that justifies the drinking and, debauchery and indulgence, but I get it. So finally, I think we the audience feel a bit of an attachment to Bob, and in spite of that, when you really think about it, Rick's group has gotten very big. They need to trim the herd because, unfortunately, in the apocalypse, post-apocalyptic scenarios, large groups are hard to manage. It's hard to keep track of everybody and make everybody, get along, keep the peace. We've seen this again and again. This is a recurring theme on The Walking Dead. So they need to trim the herd, and it's like, if you think about it, well, if they were to kill 2 or 3 people off this season, well, Bob would have to be one of them, because no one would really miss him as much, but it still would leave an impression. That's terrible to say, isn't it? But that's kind of what we've gotten used to in the show. So that we've been talking all about that since Walker started counting, and the instant reactions were brilliant. And then here's the fun part. So the hunters captured Bob, and they're keeping him semi-awake, semi-conscious. And I don't know if he's laughing or if it's one of those crying, laughing situations. When you cry, but it sounds like you're laughing because you're delirious or just, I don't know, intoxicated by the emotions that overwhelming you. Bob realizes his leg is missing, and they're all eating. The hunters are eating from him. They're like, wow, you taste surprisingly good. That's kind of creepy when Gareth said that. But if he is laughing, it'd be interesting because, wait a minute, they don't realize they're eating tainted meat. Ooh. I'd like to see where they go with that. Now, I've been purposely trying to stay away from the comics, but now I'm about to get back into them because I want to see where they go with that in the comics. I forget where they went with that. And I still hear things here and there, but, I'm pretty sure the show's going to go in a different direction. But this season looks like it's going to be, the closest to the comics to date. So we'll see. Let's get back to some Doctor Who talk. So this is some little stuff. Let's talk about the creatures that were in Flatline. Who were these creatures in Flatline? This is episode 9 of series 8 of Doctor Who. Switching gears a little bit. I think it's worth mentioning here that there was so much potential for us to learn about a new villain, a new species in the Doctor Who universe, expanding the Doctor Who universe. I've talked about this time and again. They need to expand that universe because it's almost like, hey, I have the ability to go anywhere in time and space, but I'm going to go visit Florida. Yeah, really? Not that Florida is terrible, but it's like, why? Out of all the places you could visit, that's probably not a good place. I like Florida. I have family out there. I don't know. Let's think of someone random. North Dakota. There we go. But, it's just, why limit it to one place? No matter how great the place is, like, it's the same thing with the creatures and the species they run into. Like they've limited themselves for some weird reason. And I don't think it's budget. It's something else, lack of creativity, maybe. I don't know. But these creatures, and this is a missed opportunity. These creatures turn out to be mere throwaway characters. The Doctor did end up naming them, but this was just before he magically zaps them with the sonic screwdriver. We don't understand how that's supposed to work, but he zaps them and they kind of disintegrate. They go poof. I don't know. So I don't think they'll be coming back. Though, the Doctor does say this: "You are not welcome here. I am the Doctor and I protect this plane. And I name you the Boneless." Something to that effect. I might be misquoting it, but he calls them the Boneless. Now, funny thing, I thought he called them the Bimrut for some reason. That accent sometimes, for me, silly American, I don't always catch what he's saying. But yeah, he calls them the Boneless. So I hope that they do more with these creatures at some point, because, I love the Daleks. Cybermen are cool. Weeping Angels are awesome. But we need more recurring characters and callbacks and tying up all these loose ends. I don't want... The constant one-offs are bad. They need to... It's nice when they start weaving stories over time. And, play up on a little bit on that nostalgia. Why not? But, yeah, let me know what you think about that. I just feel like it's a missed opportunity for them to not do more with the Boneless on a Flatline. But they did set up a lot of things here on this episode, and they did reinforce previous ideas, contrary to Mummy on the Orient, which I loved because it had the steampunk elements and it made me think about BioShock. That that episode did not really contribute much to the overall story arc. This one did. Flatline, I think, was brilliant on many different levels, and definitely worth rewatching. I might have to actually rewatch Mummy and the Orient Express and Flatline back to back. But again, on Mummy and the Orient Express, Gus, if they don't bring back Gus, or mention him in some significant way, that'll be a missed opportunity too. Because Gus is very interesting, and he has a monocle. That's cool. Monocles are awesome. They might be even cooler than bow ties. So let's go back to Walking Dead, because obviously I'm still on that Walking Dead kick. Because I spent a whole weekend, covering the Walker Stalker Con and interviewing people and taking photos and everything. So it's on the brain, and I know a lot of you guys are thinking about the same stuff. So let's talk about Beth. Beth is finally remembered, and it's about time. I mean, all this time, it was as if the group completely forgot about poor little Beth, and that's terrible. Emily Kinney's a very cute woman, by the way, and she's a sweetheart. She's such a doll. So I hope they don't kill her off. I hope they bring her back and build up her character further and make her come into her own. Because, I don't know, when you start seeing less and less of characters, you have to worry that, they're trying to write the characters off. Or maybe when they don't show a character too much, and all of a sudden the character has like a good moment, that good moment is like the calm before the storm, like Bob had with Sasha. The thing about Beth, I can't even recall when or how she got separated from the group. So now I have to wonder, now that Carol and Daryl are catching up with her, what a way to them, what a way to Beth. I don't know, it's gonna be crazy. They're going all commando on their own. They could have at least, well, I guess they couldn't give chase if they went back to let everybody know, hey, we're doing this. No one's found short range walkie talkies or anything. I don't know. What's up with that? They did it in We're Alive. That's a good zombie story, by the way. BFT in the chat says, anything is cooler than bow ties. Bow ties are cool. Hey, only certain people can pull them off. But yeah, they're distinguished. Come on, a cat in a bow tie, a dog in a bow tie. All of a sudden, that raises things up big time. Beth is cute, and the actress that plays her, and actress/singer, Emily Kinney, awesome person. Is just a real sweetheart. I wish I had more time to really set up interviews and whatnot, and next time. This is more like feeling everything out, see how much the con has changed. It was crazy. There was so much stuff going on. But Emily Kinney, awesome gal. And oh man, I hope they don't kill her off. I really hope they don't. But if they do, we'll be able to interview her because AMC won't have the embargo in place. They don't allow the media to have access to people that are still active on the show. So, little fun fact. Now, back to Bob. So is Bob dead meat? Yeah, I meant the pun. It's probably a terrible pun, but yeah, he might possibly quite literally be dead meat. Stan wants to see me in a bow tie. Oh, that might be arranged. I don't think I can even tie a bow tie anymore. I used to be able to. I can tie a regular tie, obviously, but bow tie's a little trickier. But again, I think this is gonna be a cool twist here. But I'm wondering how it would work out because everyone is infected, in the Walking Dead universe. That's they had that reveal early on, so maybe Bob might have the last laugh, or Bob might even survive for a while, like Herschel did. But Bob's time, the counter has definitely started ticking. Who knows? He might become a staple of the group. They might find a way to keep him from dying and then keep him human. And I don't know. There's a lot of ifs there. When you have to start explaining a plot and making excuses, it's either bad storytelling or it's just not going to happen because we can't suspend our disbelief. So, yeah, Bob may not have legs. He definitely doesn't have. He's missing one of his legs for sure. Now, if he's missing both the legs. Yeah, if he's missing both legs, then he might just end up sacrificing himself because what kind of life is that? But he has something to fight for. I mean, he has Sasha, and She's quite the looker too. I met her at the con as well. Walker Stalker Con is OP. So guys, before I ramble on further about The Walking Dead and Doctor Who, let's go. We're making good time here. It's a whole different dynamic when I don't have someone to talk to. We still got voicemail messages to play and some comments. So this is the time. Our TWTT Community Interconnect. It's an unofficial segment. We do it all the time. Let's see what we have in the chat here. One-legged man in Zombieland can't last long. Remember Herschel? Yeah, but I genuinely feel terrible for Scott Wilson, the gentleman that plays Herschel. He is such a nice guy, and when people ask him, they asked him last time I bumped into him. They asked him, how, they said, oh, I hate that Herschel was killed off, and he said, yeah, I hate it too, and he just kind of like put that sad face on, like, sigh. Poor guy, he's terrible. Herschel was the voice of reason. I mean, Dale was even worse because they didn't even give him a really epic death. It was kind of like, oh yeah, Dale died. And Dale was a cool character. I know people didn't like his like one eyebrow raised up poop face, but he served his purpose. You need the men with experience, the women with experience that could be the voice of reason, level-headed folks that could keep things balanced. And Herschel evolved so much as a character. I mean, he was just a man. Yeah, Herschel definitely rocked. But don't forget, folks, you could always call in, even when we're not live. Our voicemail line is 1-206-415-4987. Again, that's 1-206-415-4987. Well, if you're calling outside the U.S., it's 001-206-415-4987. But now for some comments. So, on YouTube, Dante resounds Whovian concerns that are just bountiful throughout all spaces. And he writes, I am a huge fan of Doctor Who, and Series 8 is utter disappointment. Oof. I can't agree. I think it's really hard to judge these series until they're concluded. Especially this series. Episodically, it is a little tough. It's a slow burn. But if you really piece it all together, it's a puzzle that's still missing a few pieces. And I think once those pieces come into place, we're going to appreciate Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor. We're going to appreciate what they're building up going into Series 9. Now, this is not all going to be resolved. We're not going to get all these questions answered on Series 8. There's no way. It's not enough time to do that in a meaningful, satisfying way. But, yeah, I'm liking where things are going. Stan says, Dale, big sigh. Is that a big sigh, like, because you can't stand his character, or a big sigh because of the way they took him out? It was so corny the way he died. Yeah. But, yeah, sit tight. I mean, we need more episodes of the caliber of Kill the Moon. But Flatline, I think, is keeping momentum going in a big way. It's setting the stage. Mummy on the Orient Express, I can understand why it's either take it or leave it. So, well, speaking of which, Brooke Yee observes that Kill the Moon was a much better episode. She said it was much better than Mummy on the Orient Express. Back to disappointment. Oof, guys. Oof. Oh, Stan misses Dale from The Walking Dead. Yeah, he was useful. A good shot. Nice to chat with. He cared about people. Had a good feel for people's personalities, and he's a mechanic too. He was handy. He was just all around handy. Makes you want to go back to those older seasons of The Walking Dead. The way they treat Dale in the comics is even worse. They really do him dirty. But so anyway, Kill the Moon I think set the bar really high. I think you have to, with this season, I feel like we really need, and I'm not making excuses for Doctor Who or the creative team behind it, but I feel like you have to, some of these episodes you can enjoy individually, episodically, and some of these you have to kind of just rewatch to pick up on things that they're trying to communicate, and then watch other episodes along with it. And as a series, as a bundle, we feel a greater appreciation for them. I'm still really excited to see what they're gonna do with all this. I'm very curious and excited. So I don't know. Call me a fanboy. Doctor Who, baby. So BFT says, I think we'll see more development in today's episode. More Danny Pink and having to save kids. Could be a good one. Now, I'm trying to recall what this episode was supposed to be called. I know we had talked about this in the previous episode. See, I had the notes, but someone deleted them. So I'm ill prepared because someone messed around my show notes. Ahem. I gotta give Stan a hard time getting that here. But yeah, I think so. We just finished a 2-story episode, 2-episode romp with Jamie Matheson. I think Flatline was the stronger one of the two. I liked Mummy and the Orient. Again, I don't think it contributed much to the overall storytelling, but I like that little steampunk kind of Bioshock feel that they had going there. So yeah, I think we're gonna have another episode that's not Stephen Moffat, and then the last 2 are Stephen Moffat, because this is episode 10 tonight if you're listening to us live. And then 11 and 12, yeah. And then Stephen Moffat's gonna finish the we have people in the All Games chat asking, Timey-Wimey tea time? Yeah. We're live now. And yeah, folks, don't forget, we're not just Doctor Who. But yeah, Stephen Moffat's gonna finish off this series, and it should be interesting. Danny Pink could be hit or miss. I think now he's a lot more mature, and he's a useful person. He's manly, so I'm excited to see what's going on with that. What they're gonna do there. So tonight's gonna be fun, guys. It's gonna be fun. But Eddie on YouTube comes to the rescue with a more positive outlook. He says that Peter Capaldi is an amazing actor, and if you think he is a complete disappointment as the 12th Doctor, he says, I suggest you go watch some of his other work. An actor is only as good as the material he is given. Very true. People saying that Peter Capaldi stinks. Not fair. That's not a fair thing. By the way, I bumped into a lot of Whovians at Walker Stalker Con, and we were talking about some of the upcoming conventions. I wish I had the money the disposable income to make it out to some of these conventions. But I will be getting in touch with some of these folks and trying to get them on the show. There's a lot of things to be arranged soon. But a lot of the old school Doctor Who fans I talked to, I think all of the ones I talked to at Walker Stalker Con, love Peter Capaldi because they feel like he's more of like the classic Doctor. And I could totally see that, but I feel like we've been shown a more humanized, compassionate Doctor, and I need to show more of that, make him more well-rounded. I'm all for like a Doctor that smacks people down, put them in their place, like Eccleston did that. But there needs to be some balance there. It can't just be all salt. Put some sugar in there too. Maybe a little bit of black pepper. I'm a big fan of the pepper. Yeah, do that. So yeah, Peter Capaldi I think could be one of the greats. I'm really enjoying him. It's a different kind of Doctor. I just think they try to do too much with his character at once, and they're setting him up for failure to an extent. Stan Farina says, no more episodes written by the godless Jamie Matheson. Yeah, that was the last one, Flatline. I forget what the next episode is written by, but the last 2 are definitely Stephen Moffat pieces. He's heading those up, so we'll see. And Stephen Moffat could be hit or miss. BFT says, Capaldi was also very good in season 3 of Torchwood. Yeah, I want to go back to Torchwood, but knowing what happens to that crew, spoilers, it makes me sad. Yeah, they kind of wrote themselves into a corner there. They did a very Joss Whedon Serenity type thing. It's like, Let's just kill off everybody. What? That's like telling the fans, yeah, don't expect this to come back. I'm pretty much done with it, so this is what I'm doing. It's a big middle finger to the fans, but yeah. So I agree with Eddie. He's only got the material to work with. He's doing a phenomenal job with what he's been given, and I have no complaints. I think Capaldi is amazing. I would say so far I like him better than Matt Smith in some aspects because we feel the potential of having more serious stories, and I like the physicality and silliness of Matt Smith as a doctor. I really got to appreciate him after the fact, but it's nice seeing a different side of the doctor. Just they need to balance it out. And I'm gonna keep saying that. Yeah. If you are all salt, you better have all the answers. Yes. Yeah, because let's talk about that. So the 12th Doctor is very salty and snappy, but he doesn't have all the answers. He's kind of derpy and he's kind of clueless a lot of the times. Though Flatline was the first time he really admitted, like, I had no idea what was going on. And then it finally clicked with him. But he never encountered these people before, and he's kind of making things up as he went along. There's been a lot of that. Like, I just make it all up as it going along. Yeah, yeah. I guess that's something that's kind of a trope of Doctor Who. But usually he has a lot more knowledge. I mean, come on. Thousands of years living, traveling all the time in space. I mean, he's picked up stuff along the way. And it feels like all of a sudden he forgot all his training and knowledge. I don't know. It's weird. Our last comment from YouTube comes from Julie F., who provides a simple suggestion to Moffat and team. And she just says, I need a doctor to be a hero. I feel like playing our little music, our instrumental of I Need a Hero, the Doctor Who version. Yeah, we need that. We need more heroics. There's been a lot of great speeches throughout this season, some great one-liners, but that's not what being a hero is. We need more action. That's what really being a hero is about. And I really feel like this doctor feels the responsibility to the world, to the universe, particularly Earth, but sometimes he acts like so objective that it's almost cold and calculating, and that's a little sad too. So here's to keeping hope alive. But folks, what I'm going to do now, since we don't have a guest here, I'm just going to pull a couple of voicemail messages from our archives, because I'll save the newer stuff for next show when Stan is here to enjoy it. So here we go.
Hello, Timey-Wimey, tea time. This is Idris Elba, who should have been the other Doctor in the new series. I'm just kidding. It's Matt Bradford doing a bad impression. Wanted to say hello to you guys. I really enjoyed my time on your episode a few times back, and I hope to return very shortly. I'm currently digging my way out of work, but I love your show, and I hope to be a voice on it very soon. Now, Stan asked me to drop my favorite Doctor Who quote, and there's many. If you've watched the show, there's about 50 years of quotes, but I like this one particularly from my favorite Doctor, Matt Smith. It goes, in 900 years of time and space, I've never met anyone who wasn't important. That kind of, I think that's, the underlying philosophy of Doctor Who is that, and in a lot of the cases, it's not the Doctor who's the most important person in the episode. It's the companion or the person he meets, or just some random dude who happens to find a police box somewhere on the street. So that's a quote that really hits home to me, and it's one I love, and one of the reasons I love the show itself. But yeah, you guys are doing an awesome job. I encourage you to what's it? Go deeper, I think is what the community is saying. So go deeper. Keep doing what you guys are doing. I think it's great. Hope to see you guys soon and mess up Yogi's show notes because I know he loves those. Stan, it was great meeting you too. So I'm just gonna keep rambling. I guess you can edit this and post. I know you guys have a long show, so hey, maybe I can just talk to myself. No, you know what? I got to get back to it. So I'll see you guys soon, and bye. Go deeper.
There's nothing like the Timey-Wimey tea time. Most Doctor Who podcasts are all about trivial details, time-killing banter, and, well, meaningless enthusiasm. I like the questions you guys are asking. They're intelligent, provocative, and manly. So what can the Doctor teach us about ourselves? About fatherhood? About friendship, manhood, and being a hero? So anyway, keep going deep. What you waiting for, Puddins?
All right, so there we have it. Matt Bradford, who's one of our recurring guest hosts and our revolving hosts. I won't even say guest. He's a member of the family. We just wish we could have him on more often. That's one of our first voicemail messages, and it's relevant to the discussion here because okay, so they said that Matt Smith, as the doctor said, that he's lived 900 years. They've said lots of different numbers. I don't think it even matters anymore. Timey-Wimey, wibbly, whatever. But 900 years is still a lot of time. But it's important. He said he never met someone that wasn't important. And this 12th Doctor is a little dismissive when it comes to meeting some people. He's quick to write off a lot of people, regardless of race. But then when they prove their worth, it's almost like he's just treating everything like one big chess game. So I can see where people feel that's a little discerning. But we do have to start wrapping this up soon. So I want to just mention real quick with regards to the Soft Kitty Song Contest. By the way, Harley Quinn, you need to call back again. I think we should have her as a guest and talk about manliness. Is this Dr. Manly? Is Danny Pink manly? We'll come back to that in a future time. But feel free to call in 206-415-4987. Again, 206-415-4987. Or you can email us at TWTT@geekyantics.net and send us an MP3 file of your thoughts. But let's talk about the Soft Kitty Song Contest. We're doing this contest. All the details are at geekyantics.net/giveaways. We will be closing the submission period soon, probably within 2 to 3 weeks. More details will be on the giveaways area of Geeky Antics, even though this is a contest, which is very different from a giveaway. So I want to put that out there for legal purposes at the very least. But let's hear this is a fan request. So back by popular demand, we have Louis Armstrong doing his version of Soft Kitty.
Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. Soft kitty, warm kitty, little ball of fur. Happy kitty, sleepy kitty, purr, purr, purr. Oh, yeah.
I love the crackling in the background. It makes it sound so classic. But it's time, guys. We got to do shout-outs and get out of here. I don't want to hog up that All Games bandwidth much longer, but I'm going to try to be as quick as possible here. But don't forget, folks, you can enjoy TWTT wherever fantastic, beautiful podcasts can be found, including but not limited to Stitcher, iTunes, Zune, Windows Phone Marketplace, TuneIn Radio, and Spreaker. And thanks to everybody that's been sharing our message forward, including Casterberus and Translord Tomb, and a bunch of other folks that we obviously don't have enough time to shout out. Allgames.com, make sure you join us live by clicking. Just go to allgames.com and you can just hit play and there'll be a chat right on the front page. Very easy. We're there every Saturday unless otherwise advertised, and we'll stream live at noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in London, 7 p.m. in Bucharest. GeekyAnswers.net, that's the main hub where you want to go. Our schedule's there, all our podcasts, full podcast stream is there. Leave us comments. let everybody know that we appreciate them, whether they're our writers or people I like to call creative engineers, Twitch streamers, show podcast hosts, and the rest of the gang. Leave the comments. It's just a couple minutes, and it means so much to everybody. And do the same thing with on YouTube. Now BFT doesn't like the Louis Armstrong soft kitty. People either love it or hate it. That was fan requested. It was popular demand, so we brought it back. He's a little creeped out by it though. Yeah, depends on what your tastes are. But yeah, we'll switch it up. But what else do we have for you? Don't forget also on geekyantics.net, you'll have our blogged recaps in the blog section, obviously, because it's blogged. And that's where we'll have our shout-out links and all that good stuff. So let's talk about shout-outs. So Gaming Death, at Gaming Death on Twitter. This is our Twitterati, as Stan likes to call it. At Gaming Death. They're the collective of the Gaming Death podcast right here on the Geeky Answers Network. And for those joining us live, they're doing a 24-hour charity stream for Extra Life right now. And it's for the Children's Miracle Network, if I'm not mistaken. So spread the word so they can reach their goals. And this is going straight to charity. It's awesome. At least pop in and give them some encouragement. And, retweet it, share it on Facebook, tumble it, whatever social media stuff you do, spread the word. I mean, that sometimes is worth more than just donating $1 or $2. But every amount matters. They'll feel like you have to donate a certain amount. Just every little bit helps. Collective economics, OP. At Olivia Drescher is an author, editor, publisher, and advocate of fragmented writing. So you talk about flash fiction. This is fragmented writing. It's even more smaller, and it's pretty cool. At Boogie2988 makes videos about games, gaming, and the industry. His recent thoughts on Gamergate are worthwhile. How to hashtag stop Gamergate 2014 and complete hashtag Gamergate once and for all. Now, I have my own feelings on this. I feel like a lot of people, unfortunately, are using Gamergate as a propaganda platform to just get more juice, more link juice. But there are a lot of important issues there. So if you guys want to hear what I feel about it, I have a nice little op-ed on geekyanswers.net. And I'd love for you guys to join the conversation because I think there's a lot of important issues that are not being addressed. So, man, let's keep that conversation going. At the real S0S is where you can find weather and other major alerts. At this Alice Lynch is an artist, photographer, musician, model, and zombie fan. At JD Farag is the pastor of the Calvary Chapel in Kanoe, Hawaii. He's an expert on the end of the world prophecy. Cool dude too. At the Doctor of the Dead is a zombie expert, scholar, and podcast. I forget which podcast he did, but I know he was out in the Waka Starker Con, and I saw a lot of his tweets at hashtag WSC Atlanta. If you check that out, you'll see a lot of stuff from the Geeky Answers Network and other people that attended. It's really cool. There's still people tweeting on there. I'm still tweeting out there. So if you're a Walking Dead fan, hashtag the TWTT family, hashtag TWT family, not the, and hashtag WSC Atlanta. You'll see some good Walking Dead related stuff too. At SF Direwolf runs at this Visibility Project, which records the stories of people with disability. So that's this visibility, like DIS Visibility Project. Of course, all these links will be in our recap whenever we get that up there. In the spirit of helping people dream bigger, check out some of the crowdfunding projects that pique our interest. Check out our blogged recaps, again, blogged recaps of this podcast for links and any other information about our shoutouts, and search TWTT on Twitter. And mind you, with all the stuff going on this week, we may not have the recap. We might have to combine some recaps, but we'll try to get it up on YouTube at least. And you can always tweet us, and we'll share those links with you. So here's some Kickstarter projects. So we have Ampy. Ampy powers your devices from your motion. And how cool is that? A 30-minute run, 3-hour hike, or an hour of cycling will provide full charge for your smartphone. That's smart. And I'm surprised people haven't thought about that kind of stuff before. The Orb is a hybrid light that uses glow stick technology and LED lighting to give you hours and hours of light. Perfect for a zombie apocalypse, so the zombies can find you. Why not? The Fuel Box power station charges multiple devices in one spot and comes with a docking and docking station and a portable battery. Oh, it's docking portable battery. I read that wrong. And a lot of these, pretty much all of these projects are either on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. And we'd appreciate it if you let the guys know. By the way, Fuelbox is at Fuelbox Nation on Twitter. And we'd appreciate if you let these fine folks know that Yomar and Stan from Timey-Wimey Tea Time, hashtag TWTT, sent you. You know, speaking of which, you reach out to us. Let's collaborate. Let's take the Geeky Antics experience deeper. Let's go deeper. Now, your genius has a home at geekyantics.net. It's a place where people want to know your name if you do amazing things. And you know what? I'm going to assume that if you're listening to this, you probably do amazing things. But as always, if you faithfully retweet us on Twitter, we post this on Facebook, comment on YouTube, follow us on All Games and Twitch. Wherever you follow us on we're all over the social media. So I'm easy to find, Yogizilla, Geeky Antics, and we have a full directory of our people, our core team, and some of our main contributors at geekyantics.net. If you go to the About page, so geekyantics.net/about should work too, and you'll see more ways to connect with us. So if you do that, let us know. If you shout us out on maybe on your own podcast, let us know, and we'll do a mighty shout out with big love, so we can feature you on this segment. No post show today. I think you guys have had enough of me, and I love you though. I don't know what happened to Ali. I think he turned over in bed and fell back asleep because he was gonna join us. So I was expecting him to join us. That's why you guys see his name there. But be sure to give him some crap. Go to 42 level 1 and join his live chat on allgames.com and say, hey, why weren't you on TWTT? We were waiting for you. We had your drinks ready. Darn you. But folks, I'm going to end things right there. Love you so much. Thank you for putting up with me for the past couple of hours or so. I should be on later to stream. I'm going to grab something to eat, check in with the family, relax a little bit, recharge my batteries. And yeah, I'll try to get this up on YouTube for those listening live ASAP. Hopefully in a couple of weeks, we'll be back to business as usual. Stan and I will be back, and we'll have a lot of ground to cover. In the meantime, I'll be checking, you know where to find us, geekyantics.net. Stay up to date, make sure you subscribe to our mailing list, stay in the know. You can find me, Yomar, aka Yogizilla, at Yogizilla on Twitter, and Stan, who's not here right now, but is here in spirit, or in the chat, at Faryna, Faryna. This has been TWTT, Timey-Wimey Tea Time, and I love you guys. Enjoy the outro. Take it easy. Peace. And all that good stuff. I don't know. Bye, guys.
We thank you. Yomar and Stan, thank you. We thank you for every crumb, biscuit and cake you bring to the table. Because Doctor Who belongs to all of us. What you bring to the Timey-Wimey Tea Time in your live chat participation, comments, likes, shares, tweets and voicemail, all of it means the world to us. Love, true love never fails. Do you like it? If you like what we're doing, well, tell us for God's sake. Shout it from the rooftops at geekyantics.net. Then 206 415 4987. That's 206 415 4987. That's it. Bless you. So long. And thanks for all the fish. Dawn, it won't be that long, just a wee while, because the Timey-Wimey Tea Time will be back. We'll return next Saturday with fresh insights, questions and epiphanies about Doctor Who. And heck yes, everything geek. Maybe same bat time, absolutely the same bat channel, every Saturday.
Timey-Wimey Tea Time. gusta.